Hey yo, so it's Sid here back with another video. I just wanted to talk about like the fear of being perfect or like the fear of needing to be perfect and like how it overall can stunt you. Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with wanting to be perfect or being perceived as perfect and like having this idea that they need to be perfect in order to be successful or happy or just in general like enjoying life, they would need to be perfect. But I feel like we can be imperfect and still have like an amazing life and still be like successful or like live in something that is not negative without being like perfect, if that makes sense. Like you don't have to be perfect in order to have a happy life. But I feel like nowadays there's like a very like large majority of people that feel like they need to be like perfect in order to be somewhere further along, or like if they aren't, then they're gonna be seen somewhere lower in society or lower in life. Like mistakes make us bad or mistakes make us fall behind people, and I feel like honestly that's just a hard way to live, to try and expect yourself to be perfect when no one themselves is perfect. Like no matter what you do, you'll never be perfect. No matter what you try to do, what habit you try to build, or like what habit you try to inhabit for the rest of your life, there's gonna be times where maybe you end up losing that habit, or maybe you regain that habit somehow. But being perfect is just unrealistic, and like the fact that we try to make ourselves perfect is also unrealistic, but we don't realize how unrealistic it is in the moment, because that seems like a realistic thing for us. That seems like our goal. Like we may not see it as we're trying to be perfect, but in reality, we are trying to be perfect. We are trying to be something that we're not, something that is unflawed. But the flaws in us make us beautiful. The flaws in us make us human. The flaws in us make us learn and go through challenges and lessons that we need to like grow and realize that like it can change us for the better. But we can never go through those lessons if we never like realize that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to not have everything organized and set up in like a box of everything, because nothing in life fits perfectly in a box. It never does. Like if anything, I feel like life has thousands and thousands of boxes that we just expand and grow with over time as we age. Like we start with our first box of like being born, and I mean we know nothing. That box is empty. But then as we grow and change and adapt to things in life and learn new things, we have a box of like romance, and like what we have in that box of romance is past relationships, current relationships, just like overall things. And the next box, I guess, could be like career-wise or like family-wise. What we learn from family, what we think about family, what happened in family, that all goes into that box. And we have the box of like overall our own self-worth, our own self-value. Some people have a large box for themselves, some people have no box for themselves, and tend to be more of like a people pleaser versus someone who is like more in tune with themselves, who is less likely to be a people pleaser because they know what they do and don't want to do. And of course we have the people who are selfish and their boxes probably take up every other box in the world. But like it's just knowing yourself and knowing that it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to need to change. It's okay to need to adapt. You're human. It's okay for all of that to be your reality, honestly, because that's just where we are in this life and wherever we are. Like no matter where you are, there's always going to be room for improvement, room for change, but also acknowledging how far you've come and how far you've grown also makes a huge difference. Because when you don't like acknowledge how far you've come or how far you've grown overall, you never really realize how much you've been through, what you've changed from what you've been through, and where you originally started at and where you are now, and you don't appreciate yourself enough. And I feel like that's honestly kind of sad, because like if you've been through a lot, and probably most people have, I mean of course we've all been through a lot, but you've been through a lot and you're constantly seeing yourself as imperfect and this need to be perfect, then of course you're going to keep pushing yourself harder and harder and harder. And that's okay. It's okay to push yourself, but also realize that you need breaks, you need time to relax, you need time to also just like look back and reflect. And that's okay to take those moments to reflect, as long as you're not like staying in it for, you know, like forever. Because like we can stay in one spot for so long, you get comfortable in that spot, and then that's where we stay at. We never move forward, we never move backwards, we just stay in that spot. I mean, if you're comfortable with that spot, then yeah. But of course, over time, you're gonna change. You're gonna want to move probably forward or backward. I mean, hopefully not backward, of course, but it's up to you. It's person by person, person to person. Like, you change, you grow, you adapt, you shift, you live the way you want to live, honestly. And just perfection is just unrealistic. It's not anywhere that we can ever be within our whole lifetime, within any other lifetime. We can never truly be perfect. The only way to be perfect is to truly be imperfect, but okay with where you're at. That, I feel like, is perfect to me, I guess. Like, it's weird, like, I guess it's perfect in a way, but it's not, because you're acknowledging your flaws, you're acknowledging your hardships, you're acknowledging that there's gonna be times where you fall, where you get back up, where you stumble, and that's okay. There's gonna be times where you don't wanna move, where you just wanna stay still, where you don't wanna shift, where you don't wanna do anything but just relax and rest. And that's okay, because everybody needs rest. Even you, even your family members, your sisters, your brothers, your aunts, uncles, brothers. I mean, I already said brothers, but just in general, like, everybody needs a break, even if they don't say that they need a break. Everybody needs time to themselves. Everybody needs time with family or loved ones, or just people that they call their family or who need their family. Because without those things, there's not much to really like look forward to, I guess. Like, if you're always by yourself or always like feeling like you're isolated, then it's harder on you to take those breaks, because you're gonna feel alone in those breaks. You're gonna feel like maybe you wish you had someone to be with you during that break, during that time of rest, someone to like talk to and just tell all the things that you've been through. And I guess not having that kind of person present would make things more difficult, because who are you to tell someone, like, who are you gonna tell when you have a hardship that you know you can't handle all on your own? And you can always go to therapy, but that's not a person that's like truly close to you. It's like, I mean, they can be close, but you know that you're paying them, you're changing something for them to be there for you. It's not like a genuine connection. It's not like getting written down or scribed upon every time you talk to them. But yeah, that was just like my take on like perfection and like imperfection, and how we can be imperfect but also perfect at the same time, without having to not have our flaws and not acknowledge the truth of ourselves. And that like acknowledging those things make a larger difference, I feel like, because we can see where we're at on our personal scale of like whether we're doing good, whether we're doing bad. And without that like personal scale, there's no real way to move forward, honestly. But yeah, thank you for watching.